Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare miss it.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, this is Stan Schofield, and I'm inviting all of my KWK family and my family to watch Church Without Walls, 11 o'clock on Mondays, for the greatest and latest show around. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lopinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
This program does not reflect the views and opinions of the New Orleans Talk Network. Viewer discretion is advised.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Yo, Mob, kick it for me one time. What is the world coming to? Seems like
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You are listening and you are watching Church Without Walls on the New Orleans Talk Network. You can download us on the app, New Orleans Talk Network. We're also on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. We thank you for listening and we thank you for watching. We thank you so much for tuning in every Monday morning, 11 to 12 Central Standard Time. We certainly hope that you had a gorgeous and a grateful weekend, and so many of us was under hurricane threat that live in this metropolitan area, mainly just throughout the whole state of Louisiana. We were under hurricane, at least not hurricane-wise, but the threat of flooding, high wind from the storm Barry. And we thank God that so far many people, I don't know anyone that lost their life, and it could have been that connected with the high wind and the water, but a lot of people certainly got flooded in. And we want to think that God Almighty that it could have been way worse than what it was, because according to our weather expert, they had predicted that we were going to get heavy wind, and many people went out and bought all kinds of canned goods. You go in the store, everywhere you look, Dr. William, people were buying all kinds of candles and light. Dr. William, I knew before God, I ain't bought nothing. I think a friend of mine said, man, do something. So I finally went to the store. I got a half a pound of salami and a half pound of lunch meat. I ain't bought no candles. I ain't bought no battery, no things like that. Man, you got to be crazy. I said, I don't believe that it's going to happen. I don't believe that, for some reason, I just didn't believe that the storm was going to hit us. I said, I think the weatherman is wrong. And for whatever reason, God pushes it another way. We don't wish bad on nobody, but I thank God that.
Well, Charles, the storms have become a commercial holiday. And it's so commercial till it creates stress on the individuals in the community, to have them to believe that it's going to be worse than it really is, and the news media pushes it. And I understand that they're trying to project safety as far as the people are concerned. But, there's nothing, everything that comes out of there is basically negative to promote people to go and spend money.
Yeah.
And that's causing people to waste.
Yeah.
Rather than to try and preserve.
Right.
And so I believe that the news media should at least be trying to tell them some things that they shouldn't be doing instead of projecting everything that they want them to do, and that's commercial. It has become so commercial.
Right. You know, Dr. William, as you just said, I know a couple of people. I know one young lady, she, to get away from the bad weather, she decided to go to Alabama and went checking to
Hotel.
a hotel, yeah, and come to find out that's where the worst part of it hit at. And she was upset and mad because they wouldn't let her, the weather was so bad, they wouldn't let her out of the town. And you know, Doc, it was so funny, and Dr. Spurlock got in Baton Rouge. He had invited me. He said, "Hey, Doc, he said, the weather too bad. Why don't you come on up here and hang out with old Rev, you know, up here in Baton Rouge." Come to find out that Baton Rouge got the worst than we got it down here. So you never know, Dr.
Well, all
Williams.
around Plaquemine Parish and you know, those people were really in a bad position.
Right.
You know, as far as the water was concerned. And they focused a lot, the news media, I give them credit for that. They did focus upon Plaquemine Parish so that
Right.
people could actually know what was happening in Plaquemine Parish, Lafourche and St. Tammany. Homer had a lot of
Water,
water
yeah.
in that area also. But you got to remember, all of this is like a bayou country, and that area is swampland.
Always flooded
Yeah,
there.
but it's always swampland. And so, actually, when you look at what's actually happened, the water is actually taking back the land
Right.
because we're building in places, we're creating a landfill, and so the water don't have nowhere to go.
Right.
So, where is it going to go? It's going to find a way to go where it needs to go.
Right. And Dr. Williams, you're so right. And you know, an area like, say you take like out in St. Charles Parish. Years ago, it didn't flood there. Like, when they used to have flood here, people to run to Baton Rouge. That's where they went and stayed because Baton Rouge is higher than, the land is higher in Baton Rouge than it is down here. But now, it's flooding out there more than it's flooding here.
Because
So,
we're creating a lot of landfill in this area. We're constantly
Right.
building.
right.
We're building subdivision, and when you build these subdivisions, then you got to put a pump in there to try and drain the water
Right.
out of the
Mhm.
land. So, you know,
Nowhere for the water to go, Dr. Williams.
if you don't have nowhere to go, it's going to go where it can. And so it's going in those areas. So we get a lot of subdivisions that are flooding, and you ask yourself, even in the past, look how those subdivisions flooded out there
Right.
not too long ago. Well, that's
That ain't even used to never happen out there.
No.
It didn't flood, you know. But we thank God that that we understand, and it's so much going on until we have to. I think it's gonna come down, Dr. William, that things gonna get a little worse and worse. So we're gonna have to realize that God have all power, and we're going to have to lean on him a little bit more. You know, when it get bad, one thing we'll do, we'll run to God when we can't go nowhere else. Yeah. It's unfortunate that it happened that way, but that's the way it happened. And I also want to say that Mother Marie Black, she passed away, I think, last Monday. And her funeral was supposed to have been today, but I think they moved it to tomorrow. And I think her funeral is tomorrow. Many know Marie. She had been an usher at, I know, Second Highway many years. And also, she was an usher for Household of Faith. And for many years. And from Usher's age, she got to be the mother of Household of Faith. So we certainly our prayer, and we send condolences to the Black family. And I know that I seen something on Facebook that her and Miss Barbara Stamp were real good friends, you know, Dr. Williams.
Mhm.
And they would always usher all the time together. You know, they were known as a premier doorkeeper at many of the church houses, Second Highway, Garden of Prayer, and her and Miss Stamp certainly were known they would go to different funerals at different churches, and help the ushers out at various different churches. But Marie, that's something she loved to do, and we are gonna miss her. So God bless their family. However, Dr. William, we thank God for another day, and we thank those for listening and watching. And we have a topic today. We're going to be talking about our leader from the past, and we're going to Dr. William and I. We're going to talk about leaders from the past. And always, you always got to deal with the future. So I want y'all to know that we want to know what make a good leader and what you consider a good leader. And if you want to get in on that conversation today, what make a good leader, we invite you to call 1-563-999. And when I say a good leader, I'm talking about a good leader, what background you may come from, what color you may be, whoever you may be. We simply talking about a good leader. And you can be Hispanic, African American, white, whatever nationality that you are. We want to know what you consider a good leader. So if you like to get in on that conversation, Dr. William and I, we would love to get your definition of what is a good leader. And I know some from the past, and they got a few good ones now. So get in on the conversation. You are listening, you watching Church Without Walls.
Give me the number again, Charles.
1-563-999-1808. Dr. Anthony Williams and Charles Stewart, we're your hosts. And give us a call. And Dr. Williams, I think of a leader. When I think of a leader, I think of someone that committed. Number one, I think to be a good leader, first, you must love God. That's number one. I'm getting Dr. Williams. I know you got your own definition. I'm giving our listening, viewing audience my definition of a good leader. Number one, love God. Number one. And number two, you got to love yourself. That's one, to love God and love yourself. I believe in my heart, Dr. Williams, that if you love God and love yourself, you automatically going to love the people, and you're going to love people in the community. Oftentimes, we see people carry the name leadership, and it's all depending on what do they lead. A lot of people, when they say lead, a lead can go a bunch of different ways. Dr. Williams, you can lead people wrong or you can lead them right.
That's right.
And many of our so-called leaders that I see, my opinion, me only saying this not Dr. Williams saying this not the New Orleans Talk Network saying this. This Charles Stewart saying many people that's supposed to be leaders are not leaders. They lead in direction that benefit them.
They're leaders, Charles, but they're leaders of themselves.
Right.
And they don't have any involvement in what they're doing. They're just leading people to get what they want done to more or less help themselves.
Right.
And until we stop looking at our making those same mistakes that we've made in the past, and those mistakes are coming up to haunt us, they're becoming a liability to us. And anything that's not an asset to you becomes a liability to you.
Right.
Okay, so when you keep accumulating liabilities, you're paying for them over and over. So the question is to the community this morning, those who are looking at the TV, looking at the show, what do you expect from a leader? What do you classify as being a good leader? Give us a call and communicate with us this morning in what you think a good leader should really be.
And we're going to have to take a break, Dr. William. After the break, we're going to continue this conversation. What do you think a good leader, present and from the past? You are listening, you are watching Church Without Walls, Dr. Anthony William and Charles Stewart. This is Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare.
The New Orleans Talk Network, now on your mobile device, on your computer, in your ear, and interactive. It's new, it's innovative, and it's on your mobile device. Android, iPhone, iPad, and on your computer. Take us wherever you go. Because we're interactive. 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255.
New year, new show. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I'm coming back at you with the new year of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And this year, we're moving to Monday night with brand new exciting guests and engaging literary conversation. And we want our listening audience to be there with us because this is going to be a year you will not forget. Catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m., right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. And you can also reach us on the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, and we're on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. So catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you there.
Here we go.
We are back. You are listening and you are watching Church Without Walls. We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12. Remember, you are the church. And we want to knock down every wall that's standing our way with the help of God Almighty. Dr. William, we're discussing today what is a real leader. And Dr. William, the leader that they had when I was a little boy, when I was a young man coming up, those leaders that you had in those days, Dr. William, it makes you, when you hear them talk, when you see the thing that they did to lead the community into a better condition. And you have to, when you think about a real leader, you have to go back to Fannie Lou Hamer. Here's a woman in Mississippi living on a plantation against all odds. And she showed leadership when many people were scared, when people was getting hung, getting blowed up, you name it, on the plantation. But she was determined to go out and educate her people. And this woman, Dr. William, Fannie Lou Hamer, she went and to register to vote when some people were getting killed if they went to register to vote. And she didn't let that stop her. And even after, I wish our young people, and maybe they would have a better appreciation for leadership, and they would have a better appreciation for our foreparents, if they would understand what this lady went through. Imagine getting locked up in jail and they locked up in jail a woman with two men, and the desk sergeant ordered the two male inmate in the prison to take the bill and beat her up. Just beat her like she was a dog. She took all of that, and she still, after being beaten up for hours by our own peer, by her being beat up by Fannie Lou Hamer, by her being beaten up, she still didn't let this stop her. Even in jail, she was hollering and screaming till finally they stopped beating her up. But she was determined to keep on going on. And Fannie, she went back home, and she attended a different conference out of different states. She went to North Carolina, and she got herself educated. Imagine she on a plantation. She ain't getting no education, so she was self-taught. It had to be the Holy Spirit to guide her. But saying this to say this, Fannie, she went and she went to register to vote, and they didn't want to let her register to vote, so she didn't stop. And she kept on to finally she was able to register to vote. And some of the old songs that you hear people sing these days, when they put them on bus to go in town to go and register to vote, some of them were scared to get off the bus. But Fannie had courage, and she had the nerve and the fortitude to keep on moving. And many of y'all know she qualified. She registered for Congress. And that was I think that was in 1963. I know it was in the 60s that she ran for Congress, and she did it. And then when she went to the Democratic National Convention, they didn't want to see her. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
I mean, everything that happened, we had to fight for it. And yet and still, you got people that you got to pay to go vote, Dr. Williams. I mean, it just mind-boggling to me why you don't love yourself and your family enough and love the community enough to, how long it take to vote? I mean, you can go vote after tea if you don't want to get in line. But imagine
some people won't qualify themselves as a leader, but you have leaders right there in your home. It starts in the home.
Right.
The father is the leader, and the mother occupies herself as a team member, because if something happens at home, it is the father's responsibility to put it in check. The mother will catch it and make sure that her husband handles it when he get home. We have to have that same expectation of our leaders. The leaders have to look at what's happening in the community. And they've got individuals who are working with them. We have to understand that one person cannot do it all by himself. He needs people surrounding him to help him, him or her, to do whatever it is that needs to be done within the community. So you have to develop a team to work with you in all of the things that you want to have done. It's the same thing in a church. Pastors have to have individuals who's going to work with him or her, and I use that term not lightly, to develop strategy to make things work. And you have to have people who are committed to the church in order to make that work, just like we have to have people who are committed to politics to make sure that things are working right. We need to have consistency. And consistency means that you're constantly making things happen. You have a consistent way of doing it. You have a consistent way of doing things. But we have a caller on line 1 right now, so we're gonna pause for that caller. Caller on line 1, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear y'all. Y'all can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, good morning, Reverend William, Deacon Charles Stewart. What's going on? How y'all weekend was? Very kept y'all entertained?
Oh, yes.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear that. Listen, what's the topic again? What we talking about today?
Talking about a great leader. And what is your
Great
definition
leader.
of a leader?
What's my definition of a leader?
Definition of a real leader, where it can be black or white, Hispanic, anyone that's a leader in the past and the present.
Well, I'm going to just stick with African Americans, because in the African American community, it was leadership that got us to the point where we are today. We were led to where we are, like Jesus led the people to the promised land and all that. Great leaders of our past have gotten us to where we are today, and they made changes. Most of our leaders, in my humble opinion, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, where that's modern history right there, were spiritual leaders. They were men of God, whatever God they have believed in. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King probably, had a different perspective on their religion, but nevertheless, they were spiritual men. Even the ones that's still around today, Reverend Jesse Jackson, the other one, Al Sharpton, these are spiritual men. These are spiritual men that became leaders in the community. So when it comes to the church and the leadership that's happening in the church, to me, we love our pastors. We love them with all our heart. We pray for the families of the leaders of the flocks and all that. But these men in these churches aren't great leaders to me. They're great inspirers, they're great talkers and motivators, but they're not leaders, because a real leader, in my humble opinion, this is what makes you a great leader. Are you willing to die for this? You follow what I'm saying?
I got you, Doc.
It may sound crazy, and it's easy to say, well, I die for what I believe in.
Well, you got to think
but
about it like
actions
this.
speak louder than words.
Think about it like this. Peter said the same thing, right? Peter said, I will go and die with you. But when it came time for him to stand up with Christ, he denied him. Saul, when you look at Saul was a persecutor of a church. He was a great leader in that respect, in that religion. But until he met Jesus Christ, he was not able to do what he did. And you look at Paul wrote almost 2/3 of the New Testament. So
right,
leaders are people who must be committed to doing something, as you say, willing to die for a certain thing. We had leaders like that in the past, and those leaders have propelled us to be where we are today. So we have
exactly
to have compassion for that leader.
That's my definition of a leader. Somebody who's a spiritual person that can truly lead. And no matter what the sacrifice, no matter the ultimate sacrifice, they are going to lead.
Right. Hey,
so you can threaten them, you can scare them, and all this other stuff, but they're not going to deter from what they do.
Hey, Carl, let me say this to you. I know you do. I know you're old enough. I know you ought to be old enough to know, but you know Al Green, huh? The singer Al Green, Reverend Al Green.
Singer Al Green, yeah.
You know the record he
Al
made
Green
about the power of love. Say, it'll make it come on early. It'll make it stay out all night long. In that record, that those words that he used, and I used to listen to that real good when he said the power of love, make it come on earth, make it stay out all night long. He used to make me do that. And when you're a leader, you know, it'll make you stay up all night, kind of study what they need to be, you know, what you need to do. And it'll make you come home early in the evening. You ain't staying out and hanging out with the boys. You come home Thursday because you love your community so much. And Calder, as a young man, I don't know if you had the privilege to honor that. I stayed on the East Bank. They had some honorable guys over there. I don't know about on the West Bank. That I heard of a few of them. But over there, you had those guys was committed. I mean, the pastor, the community leader. They went when there was a problem in the neighborhood. They went themselves and sit down and talk to the power at be. They wasn't afraid. And you remember that old Negro song, "We Are Not Afraid"? And that's the way they took it. Sometimes they had gun held on them, and they walked right through them guns like it was nothing. But they were saying we're not gonna take it no more. But since civil rights passed, looks like we got weak. You know, I was we was worried about how we're going to use the system to get rich and make our
plan, in my opinion.
Well, what we have to realize is
the plan is
in this world we have love.
I couldn't tell if I was talking. Okay.
I can't hear you, caller.
I'm listening.
In this world we have the word love, a small little 4-letter word, and then we also have the word evil, which is a small 4-letter word. And when you think about those things, there are things that will make you want to do right, and there are things that will make you want to do wrong. But your ability to resist the temptation of what's evil and to be compassionate with it with love is what will make you want to do right. So we've got some leaders now who are compassionate to the evil that's brought to them, and we allow people to bring things to us that will cause us to neglect the vow, the commitment of the community, so that we start to doing wrong because everybody else is doing it. And so I want to say to the politicians who are running in the race today that you got to be committed to what you are planning to do. You're going to make a lot of promises to people, and in making those promises to people, don't just let them be just a promise made and not a promise kept. You know, do all that you can to make sure that the promise you make is one that you will take.
Now, Colin, what I see in elected officials these days, most of them don't even have a vision. You know, you listen to their platform, they don't have no platform. I hear someone running for office, I'm not gonna call no name, and they say when they win, they're gonna raise the minimum wages, and the seat that they running for, you can't even do that. That's for a state representative to do that. So we uninformed, we not prepared. You know, I know a gentleman that running for I can say one of the council seat. And this gentleman here, he wasn't the most prepared guy that I've seen in a while. I mean, this guy work playground. I mean, he done work almost every department in Jefferson Parish you can work. He know about the fire department. He done been a fireman. He done been a policeman. I mean, they know about almost every component in the parish that have to be taken care of. And this guy talk with a vision. He don't talk about what he used to do. He can give you a clear picture of what he going to fight to do. And he's determined to fight for it. He said, I'm going to roll my sleeves up, and this is what's going to happen. And that's the kind of people that need to be in office, people that have a vision. And I'm going to say this one more time. They have to be God-fearing people that love God and love themselves. If they love themselves and love God, they're going to do the right thing. I have no question about it. Now, the devil every now and then, get in the way, but a real God-fearing person, the value that they have, they're going to go back and get what they needed because God going to guide them that way. And I believe that in my heart.
definition of a God-fearing individual is not only educating yourself about your religion is one thing. Right. Anybody can sit up there and know the book. Anybody can sit up here and teach this book. But in my opinion, God is a tester. He's going to test you, and He wants to see what you're going to do. How you going? Either you're going to fail or pass that test. We don't know who's a God-fearing people. We can't say who's God-fearing because only God knows who fear Him. And I hate that term of God-fearing people. Like, what that means. We need real leaders. We need people who are going to do certain things. They have boundaries in life that they will not cross. There are lines that you are not going to step over no matter what.
Right, well, that's a God-fearing person. They got a line they're not going to cross, but everyone's going to be tempted now. Even Jesus was tempted, you know, but what I'm saying that you call it is that...
There's a couple of ways to look at that, Deacon Charles. You can fear God with love, and then you actually fear of God is not that you fear Him as somebody who will hurt you, but you fear Him because He's going to allow you to make mistakes.
Right.
But He's also going to allow you to correct those mistakes.
Right.
That's the fear. That's a fear of God.
Right.
Now, people use that word out of context sometimes. But, you know, we're not so much as God-fearing people what we want to talk about. Talk about leaders, what you expect of leaders.
Right.
What you expect them to do. What is their commitment to them? Do they have a plan? If they don't have a plan, they
Dr. Williams, we got to. I hate to interrupt. We need to take a break, and then we need to take a call on the line. But caller, we thank you so much
y'all
for your
having
call.
me.
We love you, man.
Excellent conversation. Hey, y'all, we need to have a conversation again real soon. I'll be more than happy to keep talking about it.
And after we take this break, we'll be back.
Yo, Mob, kick it for me one time. What is the world coming to?
The New Orleans Talk Network, now on your mobile device, on your computer, in your ear, and interactive. It's new, it's innovative, and it's on your mobile device. Android, iPhone, iPad, and on your computer. Take us wherever you go. Because we're interactive. 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255.
Well, what's up, everybody? This boy, Coach Hurricane here. You can follow me on Facebook at Henry Singleton or on Twitter at HenryHayoU15.
Listen, this is your boy, Fred. Listen, you can follow me on Facebook at Brandon Fred Jones, or you can follow me on Twitter at BFredJones.
This is Jeremiah Gray, man, with G Sports. You can follow me on Facebook, Jeremiah Gray, AKG, and on Twitter, G_paid-in-full-08.
Pay me the money. money.
New year, new show. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I'm coming back at you with the new year of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And this year, we're moving to Monday night with brand new exciting guests and engaging literary conversation. And we want our listening audience to be there with us because this is going to be a year you will not forget. Catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m., right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. And you can also reach us on the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, and we're on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. So catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you there.
Here we go. Yo, Mob, kick it for me one time.
We are back. You are listening and you are watching Church Without Walls in the studio of the New Orleans Talk Network. Dr. Anthony Williams and Charles Stewart. We are your hosts every Monday morning, 11 to 12. Thank you for listening and watching. We have a call on line 1. Go ahead on, caller. Hello.
Good morning, Brother Stewart, Reverend Clay.
Good morning, Dr. Clay. For our listening and viewing, we have on the phone with us the Reverend Dr. Byron Clay is the former president of SCLC and many other organizations. He is one of our truly great community leaders. And he said he don't retire. He don't do it no more, but you can't retire from helping people. So we're so happy to have you, Dr. Clay.
Well, thank you, Brother Stewart, and God bless you and Reverend Williams, and for the great work that you all are doing to engage our communities and people around our state and even the country on such a healthy and constructive conversations. And so I salute you guys for the work, and I salute all your listeners who in their own respective ways are making an impact in their communities. And I want to urge them and implore them to just continue doing what they can to uplift humanity in these testing and trying times. As you know, Mr. Stewart, Reverend Williams, you know, these days are some challenging days, and it requires all of us to be strong and to come together and work together to make an irreversible impact upon our communities and upon the lives of people and lifting up all the humanity. So thank you all for having me this morning.
Okay, Doc. But Dr. Clay, we are talking about the definition of real leader, and we're talking about the past and the present.
Yes.
Leaders where could be African American, or the white, Caucasian, Hispanic. We're talking about anyone that have made an impact upon this country and our community. And I know you is very you came up on the east bank of Jefferson Parish, and I know it was some trying time as a young man that you witnessed. I know you attend many meet with Dr. Kane, and you seen how the process happened when they were planning behind the scenes, what can they do to move our community forward. And we certainly so happy that you played that role and you had the courage to do it. And man, and I always tell you, thank you for having the courage and your commitment to serve. So if you don't, we would like for you to share with us as a young man, who our young people can understand. Like you said, we have a lot of trying time ahead of us, but I don't think our young people understand. But as a young man, paint a picture of what you went through coming through as a young man.
Oh, absolutely, Mr. Studd. Let me say first is that we all need to understand that time and events and circumstances help to shape our decisions and our outcomes in life. And as a little boy, of course, you know, my father, the late Reverend A.P. Clay Sr., was a pioneer in the civil rights movement, and he loved his community, and he served his people faithfully. And he just had a heart for people, so full of compassion. So coming up as a little boy, 4 and 5 years old and 6 years old, I always wanted to be with my father, because at that time, our family, as other black leaders around the country, was under assault and attack primarily by racists and by the Ku Klux Klan specifically. And as you may remember, and some of your listeners may know, my father's home was shot in, and crosses were burned on our lawn, and all kind of threatening phone calls, and our home was bombed. In fact, I was in the home when it was bombed. I was 11 years old at the time, but because of the power and the awesomeness and the compassion of God, he spared my life and allowed me to get out 1 minute before the home exploded, so I wouldn't be here on this phone with you. So all of these experiences helped to shape my life. I would be riding in a vehicle with my dad, and he would always place me in the back seat of the car. He would never let me ride in the front. And every so often, he would say, son, lay down on the seat, but I didn't know why. So one day, I'm on my knees on the seat looking out the back window, and I see this car constantly following us with these two white gentlemen. And I see my dad leaning over, looking through his mirror. And I said, Dad, the car keeps following us with them white men in it. He said, son, get down. So later on in life, I learned to discover is that that's why he always told me to get down on the seat. And because we was always being monitored, watched, under surveillance, and that kind of thing there. So all of those experiences helped shape my commitment to social justice and to freedom and to equality for all people, regardless of what color. Because I have stood up for whites, I've stood up for Asian Americans, anybody who was treated wrongly. And as you know, our late fallen friend Martin Luther King Jr. so eloquently stated, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So all of these events helped to shape my life. And then Mr. Stewart and Robin Williams, a lot of the public don't know, but most of the planning meeting occurred at my father's home, and civil rights leaders from around the country and from New Orleans, like the late Reverend Avery Alexander and the late Reverend S.L. Harvey, who was awesome leaders who gave themselves sacrificially to improve the quality of life for all people.
A.L. Davis.
A.L. Davis, that's right. They would all come to our home. Ralph Abernathy and, Dr. King's sister been also to our home, and all of Dr. King's top lieutenants. They all would come in town and meet at my father's home.
Right.
So I grew up in an environment where people cared about themselves and their communities and their people and all people. And one of the common conversations that always came out of it was nonviolence and love. Nonviolence and love, over and over again. So that sold heavily into my spirit. But there were other leaders, even locally. You had people like Mr. George Small over there in Little Foam. You had people like Miss Phyllis C. McMillan, who recently died a few months ago at 102 years old. They all worked together to improve the quality of life for our people. You had people like Mr. Teddy Stewart, that we affectionately call, who was the principal at Bunch, and Mr. Knox Ali Sr., who lived right down the street from us, and Judge Lionel Collins from the West Bank, who I happened to serve as his campaign manager when he ran for judge. People like Mr. Leon Williams out of the Bunch Village, regardless of what organization they belong to, they came together, they discussed the issues, they talked about the issues, and they left that meeting on one accord to make a difference and an impact to improve the lives of all people. And that's what we need. That's what we need today, Miss. Well, you even got people in office right now, like the Honorable Judge Johnson and Judge Jones Danbury, just good people. Miss Anna Washington from back in Lincoln Manor, who was over the Lincoln Manor Civic Association. And out of all those people, Mr. Stewart and Reverend Williams, and when I even think about the former Councilman Donald Jones, who, in my opinion, has done more for our communities than any elected official, black or white, and any of our leaders. There was a time that many of our leaders was just limited in what their resources and what they could do from their positions of leadership. But when I think about Councilman Donald Jones, I mean, this man is incredible, remarkable, But the day has come now is that, when we think of leaders, we have to think of leaders who think like us and not look like us, leaders with integrity, leaders with character It don't matter if they're black or white, if they're the Spanish or if they're Asian. I mean, I observe and I look at like Cynthia Singh, running for past president. I'm not promoting any candidate, but a woman that is full of integrity. So it don't matter about gender. We need people who hearts are full of compassion, who will lead our communities, whether at a civic level, at a political level, at a religious level, or whatever. So, in short, I cannot abandon my reminiscent moment when I think about Reverend Arthur Dandridge over there in Little Farm. These people
yeah, I remember
who
him.
made these people who made tremendous sacrifices to improve the community for everybody. And I would hope that even as leaders are rising up, and that they will be leaders embodied with character and compassion, and not just think about themselves, but think about the community of brotherhood as a whole.
So, Dr. Clay, when we think about a leader today, what would you classify a good leader as? How would you classify a good leader?
Well, first of all, a good leader can't be boxed in. He can neither be shut up, nor shut down, nor shut in, or shut out of anything, anytime, anywhere by anyone. And that flows from both his compassion and his commitment. And I think that, first of all, that a good leader has to have the companion value of compassion and commitment. And listen, William, you got so many people who designate themselves as leader only for their agenda, only for their purposes. But a good leader, he considers the human family as a whole. He removes himself and places the concerns and the issues of other people above his own. Secondly, I think it requires consistency, because you have people who have a short-term vision but no follow-up. They have conversation but no intense follow-up with action. So a good leader cannot be shut up, shut down, shut in, and shut out. You got some who are self-declared leaders that anytime the enemy get ready, whoever the enemy is, can shut them up because they've been bought out. They've been purchased. A good leader never sells himself out. Never sells himself out. So therefore, when he stands up, he can stand up with his chest up, with his neck up, with his shoulders out, because he's standing for truth and justice and for righteousness. And there are a whole number of characteristics that I can assign to, in my opinion, what I call or consider, good leader. But earlier I heard you all having even a discussion about a leader being God-fearing. And I think that there has to be some consciousness and some sensitivity about a higher being, a higher power. And most people won't acknowledge that. And as a result, it leaves a vacuum in the direction and the focus that they need to provide the kind of effective leadership that people need. Because, you're not only talking about physical needs. You're not only talking about social needs. There are people in our community that have emotional needs, which they have mental needs, and someone who embodies some form of spirituality from a higher being, who I describe as God, can get a much clearer, a much further sense of where he wants to go.
A leader must have the characteristic to know how to work with the whole man, not just the religious part, not just the political part, but the social and everything else. They need to be able to address all of those things that confronts the individual as a person.
Absolutely, and in short, in my simple way, that's what I'm describing. The prophet Jeremiah, he looked around him, and he saw the injustices in his day. he saw the good people suffering and the bad people prospering. And that became a question to him, and he asked the question, is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? And when I look around at some of our leaders who are narrow-minded, narrow-sighted, short-sighted, and I praise them, salute them for the things that they're able to do, but somewhere we got to reach down in ourselves and find a deeper reason, a deeper cause to expand our vision and our compassion and our commitment.
Dr. Clay, man, man, we love you. We appreciate you so much, man. This time that went by so fast. And we want to get you on again, Doc, because you have a lot of history that the community and the people across this nation, because you're not only just working in Jefferson Parish, New Orleans, but you've been all over the country serving as president of SCLC. And we want to get you in the studio one time, Doc, and we really could talk a whole hour about your experience in life. I think would help a lot of our young people, because I know some of the people that we talk with, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, many people, Andrew Young, I know you done spent the night at their house. I know you're real close with the Kane family. And we would want you to share that with the people. And you know, when something good, Doc, you want to talk about it, you know, it's just like a Coke. Coca-Cola is a good cold drink, Doc. They've been advertising Coca-Cola since I can remember. So we need to keep on something that's good for our community, keep on talking about it. So, Doc, we would love to have you back on the show.
Well, thank you so much. I look forward to coming. I want to, again, salute you all, and to your audience, I want to say to you all, stand up for justice, stand up for truth, stand up for righteousness, and God will make a way out of no way for us. And I want to tell you is that he's still in control, and we've got to come together, stick together, and work together.
Okay, thank you so much, Doc. Our time has been spent, but we thank you again and bless you and your family, Doc.
And remember...
Thank you, and God bless you and your audience.
Remember Charles' quote.
God bless.
He always said, there's no such thing as being half dead.
If you're dead, you're dead. We love y'all. See y'all next week. Have a great week.
Yo, Mob, kick it for me one time.